Hey, tribe. It's the Anger Whisperer back with my podcast. And I wanted to share a couple of things with you. I've been struggling to find out why I can't build a community in the way that I wanted to. Not that I can't, but that I haven't been successful in doing that yet because I struggle with engagement. And I believe the reason why is because I just showed up on the scene saying, "Hey, I'm the Anger Whisperer." And you guys don't actually know my story and everything that went into developing the anger whisperer. So I wanted to share a story, my story, my relationship with anger. And I had to jot some things down, so I do it in chronological order. Because once you reach a certain age, things start jumping around. You tend to jump from one thing to the next. So, um, all of that being said, I started my relationship with anger as a child. Anger used to whisper to me that I did not belong, that people didn't like me, and that there was no fight or flight for me. It was fight. So, during my childhood and adolescence, anger used to whisper things to me like, you don't belong. They don't like you anyway. And so I started my social life off with my nose in a book. I'm a voracious reader, but back then I would hide, I would use a book to hide because it was socially acceptable to be able to do and don't talk to me because I'm reading kind of thing. Um, that anger kept me going. It stayed with me through my marriage. The first person who asked me is the one that I said yes to, only because anger was telling me, ain't nobody going to ask you anyway. Nobody else is. You're probably scary to most people. And in fact, when my ex husband met me, I was fighting. So that should tell you everything you need to know. Um, that marriage led to 3 kids, but a divorce, a terrible divorce because that's how divorces go. Um, and anger still stayed with me. I ended up run starting at a fast food place and starting as a drive-through cashier and working my way up to a general manager in less than a year, which is awesome. It was perfect, and you'd think that I would be happy, but at the end of that a couple of years. I went to the safe for something and it felt like there was money missing. I hadn't taken it. It hadn't been misplaced. Somebody else had taken it. So I knew they got me. Put the money back. And then out of revenge, anger, again, listening to anger, instead of wisdom and figuring out things or showing compassion, I reacted out of anger and it cost me 6 months of my life, my freedom. So my kids' birthdays, it just hit perfectly, horribly perfect. Cost each one of their birthdays, my birthday, all the time spent away, the relationship that I had with my father had to be worked on again. Cost me everything, lost cars, lost all the things. Got home, got into another business, and worked there for about 7 years. Also, where anger kept me because I got to be mean, even in sales. I mastered that he who speaks first loses because I didn't want to speak to them anyway. So, anger is what I thrived in. It was we had a toxic relationship and it handled everything. It mastered everything else. Everything came secondary to anger. I worked there for 7 years, and it was, you know, successful because money was made, but horrible because people pictured me in a certain way. I had an issue there with the human resource manager where I actually learned how body language affects everything. Because I was seen in such an angry way that when I walked in and talked to her, somebody that I had seen in the hallways eating lunch with for 7 years, when I walked into her office and said, I hear word on the street is we're not having take your daughter to work this year. And I was very upset. Take your daughter to work day held in April. And I looked forward to it every year and it wasn't happening. And the way that I approached her blew her mind. So, needless to say, I had an issue there too. Anger, I'm telling you, anger walked hand in hand with me. And I didn't understand what body language meant and how it could be intimidating until that moment. Um, then I left that job, started my own business. You'd again think I would be happy, $1 million company, doing all the right things, except that anger was still in control. I never got a promotion at that other business, by the way. I just sat in the same chair for 7 years because I was too much to handle. So no management opportunities, none of that. Looked over for everything. And then when I started my own business, I went about it in a wrong way because it was a revenge thing in a relationship, trying to make sure that I got my way because I figured that no matter what, I was going to win that war. And it was a battle that I shouldn't even have been fighting. So sometimes in relationships, anger cost me there too. $1 million it cost me. Try and pay for things that anger wanted me to have. Bought a Hummer out of anger, called that thing the money pit. Bought it on lunch on Halloween because I wanted it to make the other truck that I had bought look like a bitch. Anyway, so there's a whole thing, horrible thing. Truck bought out of anger, cost me about $50,000. I swear to God, in repairs every other week. Anyway, so anger has kind of, let's see, we've got relationships, business, everything, my peace of mind, all of those things. And so I had this relationship with anger, like I said, and it was in control. And I had no idea why it maintained such control over me or the fact that it was trying to protect me when I didn't realize. I just treated it like the bad guy, like an unwanted guest, and there it stayed. And then one day, after I had gone through all those things and that business was done and failed because of bad partnerships and surrounding myself with the wrong people, um, I sat down one day and realized that anger wasn't the problem. Anger wasn't the villain. If I could let it go and get to the peace that was waiting underneath, I probably would be okay. And anger was okay with that. Like, we've been together long enough. So let's figure something else out. And it was then I discovered and created PARC, which stands, PARC is an acronym that stands for Perpetual Accountability, Responsibility, Change. I alone will forever be accountable and responsible for the choices that I make. And I am the only one who was able to change from that angry person into the peaceful person that you see before you now. So with Park, it was a domestic violence agency, and I did do assessments on over 3,000 people. I was the only one who did assessments. I was a supervisor for domestic violence as well, because I figured if I could show people who were angry and didn't know what to do with that anger and were having the same relationship with their anger that I had with mine, I might be able to help there not be any more victims, at least those that they encountered. And so that became my mission. Then I decided that I was only able to reach a certain amount of people because they were court ordered and had to come here because the judge told them to. And instead, I wanted to be able to reach out to people who struggled with anger like I did and wanted to make the choice and didn't want to wait for years for it to happen. So I came up with the formula: conflict times reaction minus emotion equals peace. And I want to start spreading that through to everybody that I come in contact with. And with that being said, this program is an 8-week program where you will learn everything that it took me years to learn in these 8 weeks. We talk about the pause program and how to put yourself in the other person's shoes. We talk about the peace program. We talk about the formula. We submerge you in this path to peace, and know that you will be successful with it in 8 weeks. It will change your life and change your relationship with anger, where you'll understand that it really is just your protector and trying to keep you from being hurt. And there are more peaceful ways to go about living your life and easier ways to go about it. So now that you know all those things about me, hopefully we'll be able to engage more. You know my story and the struggles that I had with anger and how I overcame it and why I came up with this program in the first place. So make sure that you click on the link, give me book a free consultation call with me. Let's go over and see if there's ways that I can serve you and how I can help you um, learn the lesson that I learned, and it took me years to come up with, and we can get you through it in just these 8 weeks. We can help you from allowing anger to destroy your relationships, destroy your health, destroy your opportunities at your careers. We can show you ways to turn that around and be blessed in all the things that come with peace. So thank you guys for joining me. I hope this has been helpful. I hope that you subscribe that you can become part of my community, that we can do things together, and that I can serve you with some tidbits on how to help control that monster that raises its head and show you that anger deserves to be held and is really just as regular as our other emotions. We just have to learn how to communicate with it and how to master it and not let it master us. So thank you guys for being here with me. Remember, find me where you go. Click the link, stay in the know, and I'll see y'all on the other side. Thank you.